How do you know if you're doing too much with your voice? If the practices that you're using, for example, in a character on stage or just in life, whether you're doing things that are like sustainable right now, or whether you need to stop and have like vocal rest. So I'm going to talk about where I am today. Not physically, I'm in a wood around Prague, going for a walk. It's Sunday, but where I am in terms of energy, because it relates. I'm going to talk a bit about something that happened during the Edinburgh Fringe to a friend, and I'm going to talk about how we can develop a toolkit, I suppose, of signs that we're about to run out of vocal energy and switch into repair and recovery mode. So firstly, like right now, it's Sunday. I've just had a really busy week. I've been doing like 12-hour days, recording these videos, doing voiceovers for a game, video game voiceover course that I've been taking, doing stuff, preparing for a voice course that I'm running next weekend in Prague, and yeah, I've been working really hard, and I'm very proud of myself actually. But on Friday, so 2 days ago, suddenly my sensory issues started flaring up. So as a person with autistic traits, I've when I get tired, they show up, and on Friday what that meant was I'm just looking at my feet to ensure I don't trip over a root or something. Yeah, what that meant on Friday was that I was out and about, and on a tram. I was going to a contact improvisation dance thing, and people's like perfume that they were wearing was just making me feel sick. And maybe I wouldn't notice normally, but like the intensity of smell increases and the intensity of sound. So like the sounds from the next door neighbor in their flat and the sounds from people around in the street just suddenly became overwhelming. So for me, that's a little like, if I was to keep pushing, that I would burn out. But I'm starting to learn how to recognize those things within myself, basically. I'm going to stop here, and because I'm going to look at this. I don't know what it is. Fine, I'm going to take you over there. Why not? This is not about the video. It is a thing, and it is called Studenska Zlatnickie. And I don't speak Czech, so I don't know what it is, but it looks like some sort of, I don't know, like a, what do you call it, a well or a fountain. It's not fountaining, but someone has put a little thing there. There you go, out and about, have a look. Yeah, and so in the voice, there's a similarity. So when you've got to kind of learn to, one of the tasks as a voice user is to recognize, or learn to recognize, when the voice is about to be burning out. And the better you get at that, the kind of earlier you can detect things you're doing with your voice. And if you detect it early enough, well, as you should really, you can detect immediately when you start doing something vocally that will, over the long term, become unhealthy or dangerous for the voice, and you can just stop doing them immediately. But this is a process, you know, and for a lot of us, we only start to really do that process of learning what's going to burn our voice out once we've actually lost our voice a few times. So this year, sort of, one of my friends at the Edinburgh Fringe, I was, he had a very late slot, I think latest slot, possibly, it was like 1:30 in the morning or 1:45 in the morning. And one day I sort of met up with him, and he didn't speak. He was just using sort of sign language and things. And I was like, you're on vocal rest. And he was on vocal rest for some days. So in that time, he did his show. He needed his voice for his show, but for the rest of the time during the Fringe around, yeah, it was, I don't know if it was up for a week. It's hard to tell the nature of time in the Edinburgh Fringe, but I saw him a few times, and he was still sort of on vocal rest. And this is what happens when it goes too far. So we do something, we maybe we get ill, and we keep pushing through the voice, and then it dies. And if we don't know what we're doing and we can't change it, and then we get to a point where the only thing we can do is stop talking. So for me, with my kind of slight movement towards kind of burnout at the moment this week, today I'm trying to do very little. That's why I'm doing an even more scrappy video. I've not even got my stick to hold it out here, so my hand is here. Yeah, so what can we do about it is start to learn what is unhealthy for the voice. And unfortunately, probably for a lot of us, the time when we're going to sort of first realize that we need to learn these things is when we start to lose our voice, or we actually lose our voice, and then we'll go, oh, okay. But earlier on in the process, what we can do is, if we start using our voice in a different way. So, for example, my sister is a tour guide, and there was a time where she was doing I think she was doing a different character, or she was in a different space or something, or the things changed. There was more noise in the streets when she was doing it, and we had a voice session, because she was having to push her voice. She's got a very loud voice. She also grew up with a mum as a voice coach, but she was having problems. She noticed it because she also has that knowledge, and immediately was sort of like, okay, how do I change what I'm doing? So noticing, like paying attention to how your voice feels, noticing if you kind of feel the voice. This is what I sort of feel afterwards, after a day of a lot of activity, and you just sort of feel something. So maybe not pain, can sometimes feel like a lump in your throat, but really, really small. When you if you take like a paracetamol or an aspirin or something, and then you don't drink it with water, and then it feels like it's stuck in your throat. Sometimes it can feel a little bit like that. And what that can mean is basically there's been a bit of vocal trauma, or strain of some sort, and your voice is just there. And it happened. But it happens all the time when you do try new things with your voice. But it's not bad if you stop immediately and you go, okay, what's going on? So start to recognize. Maybe when you're using your voice, you're not going to notice so much because you're so busy thinking about how you're using your voice, or what you're trying to say, or how being heard. But in those moments afterwards, just as if you'd go to the gym and you come home and you're like, oh, my muscles are sore. That it's a bit like that. You just go, oh, I can feel something that I don't normally feel there. That requires you kind of checking in here, in the whole body, really. Noticing when there's strain, like in my right arm right now, which is holding this phone, and is like, oh, we've been holding this for a little while now, and I'm getting a bit tired. And yeah, with that, you can kind of build up this knowledge and this understanding of your own voice, so that on those days when you actually lose your voice, which you might at some point, because it happens to all of us, you can go, okay, when did I first notice that? And you can start to kind of build up this knowledge of who you are vocally, how your body is vocally. Just as I didn't start thinking about the strength of my muscles around my knees until I was doing running at some point, and then hurt my knee, and then had to stop running for a while. And then I was like, okay, now I can recognize the earlier warning signs. So hopefully you don't get to the point where you damage your voice, but starting to tune into those things is a journey, but it does get easier over time as you get to know your body better. So that is it. That's my scrappy video today. It's the last thing I'm going to be doing for my any businessy or voicey or anything today. I'm going to go home and I think have a pizza and watch a TV show and not do anything to try and avoid getting burnt out. I'm doing all the right things. So if you want to see more videos, sign up to subscribe to this channel. I think I'm going to try and get to 100 subscribers. I've set myself. I'm thinking of doing some sort of challenge when that happens. I have an idea about what it might be, but I'm not going to say what it is yet. But yeah, hit a subscriber, hit the bell icon, and follow me on Instagram and TikTok and all the other things. Have a brilliant day. Make sure you're getting rest, and I'll see you later.